Here are three drivers with something in common. They all drive 2001 Dodge Rams. It's like a club. A club you probably don't want to join because these Dodge owners say they share something else in common.
Walking out from work one day and I looked at my dash and I could see the crack marks on it. No idea what had happened to it.
Once that first crack started, the dash just kept going and it hasn't stopped.
It started caving in.
Okay, let's see for ourselves. All three pickups show cracking on the dashboard, from early stages to later stages to, well, the formation of a hole, and then the thing is practically sunk. Yes, think of this as a sinkhole on your dashboard. Billy Hilt was the first consumer to bring this to our attention. She called us after calling someone at Dodge.
He told me that it wasn't a recall item, so there was absolutely nothing they'd do about it.
Suzanne Hudson didn't get much further than Billy.
I had gone to the Dodge where I had purchased the truck and showed that to them, and they said that they were aware that there's been problems like that in the past, however, not a recall item, so they would pay for half of it.
Suzanne says once her dashboard caved in, she started having electrical problems. One mirror no longer works, neither does a front speaker. She says the wiring was either clipped when the dash collapsed or started melting when the hole left the wiring exposed to the harsh sun. Certainly, the loss of power to a mirror is a safety concern. But wait. Seems there is more damage to the electrical system.
I went down the road at night, tried to put my brights on, and nothing. You know, as soon as I turned it, there was no lights at all, so it's a safety issue now.
Scott Whitney couldn't agree more.
I certainly don't want my lights going out at nighttime while I'm driving down the road. Not only would it freak me out, but I'm sure it'd freak a few other people out, too, that I'm driving by or beside.
Scott's convinced this is a problem unique to Dodge.
You don't see Chevys running around with cracks or Fords running around with their dashboards caving in. It's definitely a Dodge problem.
And he thinks it may be unique to the 2001 model.
Matter of fact, my old Dodge that I drove for 15 years that a friend of mine has, the dash is still intact.
Billy bought her truck in Pensacola. Suzanne bought hers in Inverness, and Scott got his in Maine. If the internet is any indication, the problem is not unique to any zip code. People from all over are reporting the same apparent defect, and none of them seem to be getting a resolution.
They were going to ask me to pay for half of it, and the truck was too new for me to absorb that responsibility and have to pay for it.
That's unacceptable.
I expect them to step up to the plate. I'm not interested in buying a Dodge again because they're not backing their product.
Well, I think they should replace them.
The dashboards or the trucks?
The dashboards.
The response to this investigation has been staggering.
Okay.
I'm talking major amounts of viewer calls and emails. We have been inundated with emails, and I would say keep them coming, because we're learning that the problem of cracking and collapsing dashboards in the Dodge Ram may be far more widespread than first believed. Owners of the 2001 model first reported the problem to Local 6. Their stories prompted our investigation. But after airing last night's story, we've heard from viewers who report the same problem in model years that go back to 1995. One thing all viewers seem to have in common: dismay at Dodge's lack of response.
I think it is a defect. I think Dodge should replace it. You know, not this 50% that they offered one of the ladies from the story last night. That's ridiculous. If they said it's 50%, then they know something's wrong.
We're also getting reports that this may be a problem in other Dodge products as well.
So many dashboards, so many cracks, so many holes, and so many consumers wondering why they're driving the automotive equivalent of a sinkhole. Lucy Perez is worried. She saw our investigation into the collapsing dashboards on the Dodge Ram, and she says she could see the future for her vehicle. Not a Dodge Ram, but a PT Cruiser.
So I immediately contact Problem Solvers.
The PT Cruiser is made by Daimler Chrysler, the same manufacturer of the Dodge Ram. Lucy is one of many PT Cruiser owners who say they too have a defective dash. And so, as you see here, we went to inspect her vehicle, to assess the damage, to look for similar patterns.
And my concern is that we are driving and something happens and this whole thing collapses and we have an accident. It's the safety of my family.
And what about safety? We've talked to a woman whose dash collapsed and she lost all power to her headlights while driving at night on the highway. And a man whose dash fell apart with pieces falling inside and jamming the gas pedal below. And others like Paul Blankenship who have no dash lights, brake lights, and no power to their mirrors.
So theoretically, I can't even take it out of the yard. So I have a truck that's not much use to me.
Meanwhile, this problem solver investigation has made its way across the country, and consumers from all over are contacting us to report similar problems. Last week, we showed you a map of states where consumers are affected. We started, obviously, in Florida. Then we added Texas, Missouri, South Carolina, and Ohio after hearing from consumers in those states. And now we've heard from Dodge owners in Georgia, North Carolina, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Utah, and Arkansas, who all report the same dashboard disasters. And they sent us photos like these from Todd in New Jersey and Gray in North Carolina. Not what Lucy wants to see. Rather, she wants to see Dodge take action.
I expect them to fix the problem.
As for Daimler Chrysler, the company has not been consistent in its communication with us. Some days they respond to our inquiries, some days they don't. And it seems that consumers are having the same experience. In fact, for the remainder of the week, we're looking into how Daimler Chrysler is handling this on a customer-to-customer basis and why some customers are more satisfied than others. Meanwhile, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, your government regulators, says it is monitoring the situation. Stephen Cooper,